What's up, guys? I got something a little different today. Got a RBI boiler here. Every 4 years or so they recommend you replace some insulators and some different things. I'm not sure exactly what all I've got here. I'm not sure exactly how to replace any of this. So I've got the manual over there. I'm going to go through and RTFM to start with. And then see what we've got. I'm guessing it's going to be some insulators in here on the burner area, so we're going to have to tear all this apart. So I'm going to start with finding the power. I'm guessing back there somewhere. It's still warm outside, so it's, almost August, so this is the perfect time to do it. I can shut the boiler down, not have to worry about it, because this may take me some time to figure out all this stuff. So let's find the power, shut it off, and then we'll get into this. So this is where I'm at. I got the control removed, all my covers removed, so I can get right in here to the burners. I haven't shut the gas off just yet, but I got this kit. Says part 1. Well, we've got an insulated piece here, a gasket, and then this little pin. That goes with this book, which kind of looks the same as this book. I don't know if they're the same or not. This one came with what was said to be part 2. We've got another insulator and some more gaskets. And then they also sent, I'm guessing, spark igniter or flame sensor, electrode. Yeah, so that's going to be a flame sensor basically. That's what they sent me, and then they sent me some pH pellets, which are going to go down. There's a bucket down here that all the condensate drains into before it comes out to the drain. So we're just doing one step at a time. We've got some different type screws in here. So I've got my kit here. I'm going to find out what head is going to fit all those. And then we're just going to go one thing at a time. We're going to start RTFMing and one thing at a time, and hopefully we can remember how to put it back together. Looks like they've already had a I think this is a high limit, maybe. They've already had that replaced on one of the stages. It's got a tag on it, so we got a spare one of those, so we'll leave that there and start trying to get this guy tore apart. So this is all too tight to really get you a good look with a tripod or anything. Basically, first we removed our spark electrode and gasket. We got a new gasket. Spark electrode needs to be cleaned. And now we're going to, I'm just following the directions here. We're going to take this nut off. There's a spring in there and a gasket of some sort. We're going to get that disconnected next, and then continue on. Now we've got our nut removed. We're just going to be careful with this gasket right here, and then you can see the gas valve's loose, where there's a pin back in here, right here, that we're going to pull out with a screwdriver, and that should allow us to move the gas valve out of the way. Electrical connection had a screw in it, so we're just putting the screw back where it goes, so I don't get the screws mixed up either. So that pin holds the gas valve in. And there's our gas valve. We got our gasket on that side, looks good. And we got our gasket on that side. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to take 4 screws out and pull this whole assembly out. vacuum the inside, clean everything up, make sure everything looks good. We're gonna be careful with it because of our gaskets. I've got gaskets, should have a gasket for everything, but I've got 2 of these and only 1 of those insulators, so I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work yet. It basically just referred me to the manual to remove all of this stuff, and I don't know if they sent enough for both of these burners or just one. So I'm just starting with the top. I'm going to do this one first. The next one will go a whole lot easier if I've got the parts for it. So there's the burner. Actually looks pretty clean inside there. I don't see much crap. We'll get in there and clean it out. That back insulator looks like it's going to be that one, and then that is that right there, which it all looks in pretty good shape, so we'll probably save it just for emergency use if needed. But everything else looks pretty clean. That's going to be the rod that they sent there. So now we're going to flip back over to the other manual and see what they say about all this other stuff. And we'll clean all this up a little bit. So next we're going to take this out of there and just remove one screw, of which it looks like it comes with a new screw and new plate. Got a little mark there down and another little hole on that side that we got to line up with the bottom. Let's get that out of there first. So we got that out. It doesn't look in terrible shape either. So the arrow is going to go up, and then that hole is on the bottom to accept that little pin back there, whatever the hell that is. So we're going to clean all this out first, although it doesn't look too bad, and then go from there. So it looks like they sent me 2 of these in one gasket kit, just only 1 of those. I don't know why the hell they did that, but if nothing else, like I said, this doesn't look in terrible shape. The insulators really didn't look that bad anyways, but we'll just replace the one on the bottom, and then we'll get with the manufacturer and see about another flame rod and another one of those next year to make sure we get everything changed out. This boiler hasn't had any problems, so it should be fine just the way it is. We're just doing all the recommended maintenance on it. It's about 4 or 5 years old now and haven't really had much problems out of it, besides the one sensor that did fail. So from here it's pretty simple. You just take your gaskets and the insulator off. We got gaskets and insulator off. We got a new gasket, a new insulator. We're gonna put all these gaskets back on and shove this thing back in there. That's about it. Pretty simple when you get down to it. Once you've done it once, this one will probably take me about half an hour to do. So now we got our burner back in place. We just got to go through and get the gas valve hooked back up and get all our plugs hooked back up. Pretty simple. I labeled top and bottom on these, so that's going to come up here. The top, there's another plug on the bottom. This sensor is going to flip up and hit that pipe. That's going to go right there on our flame sensor. So it's not too bad. Maybe I'll set up the tripod and we'll try to do this one. See what kind of video I can get. Alright, so I'm going to try to do this one live and see how quickly we can do it. I just did the top burner, so this one shouldn't be too bad. We're going to start with our sensors. This is our spark igniter. Let's get it out of the way. this. We'll label the top. Got another plug down here on the bottom. Move that out of the way. And get power off of our gas valve. This screw back in there so we don't lose it. Pull your sensor wire, air intake, pop out of the way. We do have gas shut off. There's this fitting over here for the gas valve. It's got a gasket inside, so we're just going to be careful with it. And then there's a gasket inside here as well. See there, it moves a little bit. There's a pin that holds it in. Pop that pin out, and that gas valve slides right out of there. This one will be easy because it's got a gasket as well. There's the gasket on the other end. Now let's sensor and the spark igniter. I got new gaskets for all this. They did not, however, send me. I got the insulator for the burner, but not the one that sets all the way back in the burner. I don't know why they sent me two of one and not two of the other. That's what I got. The burners didn't look too bad on the other one, so, or the insulation didn't. There's our flame sensor that needs to be cleaned. Spark igniter. They sent me one new flame sensor as well, not two. They kind of screwed up this order. Should have had two of everything, but I'm not the one who ordered it, so luckily this is not in too bad a shape. At least the top burner wasn't. Say they need to be cleaned. We're going to need spark igniters too. It's got this one doesn't look quite as bad. The other one had some wear on it. You can see the spots. But anyways, now we take 4 10mm bolts out, and this whole thing slides out this way. This leaves first. can see the insulator's damaged here. So this is the insulator that I have. The other insulator inside does not look cracked or damaged. So we'll get all this stuff cleaned out of here and then replace all that. That'll be good to go. Next time we're going to make sure we have 2 of each so I can replace that inside there as well. But it doesn't look bad to me. So that insulator in there does have the old one I have looks better. This was the one that was in the top, and I don't see any real damage to it. That one's got more damage on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. It's just a Phillips screw in the middle. You can see that one is damaged. A lot worse than this one. Somewhere in the back there. So I'm gonna finish cleaning all the rest of that crap out of there, and then we'll pop that one back in, the good one, and go from there. You see the back of that one looks good too. So we've got new gaskets for all of this. So we're just going to carefully take these off. And then we'll clean up this back plate. Just like anything else, we'll kind of wipe it down, brush it all off, clean it all up, make sure, get it ready for new gaskets. This gasket as well. So we'll get it all cleaned up and put our new gaskets on. So we got it all cleaned up, we'll slide our new gaskets in place. Be careful with this one because it's kind of tight. Insulator just like that, and then we'll kind of hold this in place when we slide it back in. We've already cleaned out the inside. We brushed it out, vacuumed it out, blew it out, so all that's good to go. screwing up. We forgot something. Forgot the insulator piece back there. Now, this one, it's got an arrow here. And then it's got this piece in the bottom because there's a little nub back in there. So you just want to make sure those line up. Just snug, you don't need to over tighten this. Because you don't want to crack the insulated piece. Now, let's try this again. Just finger tight on those. I'll just hold it in place and then I'll put my flame sensor and everything back in there. Then tighten everything down all at once. So we've got to clean all this up first. Just like you would any flame sensor spark igniter, we're going to get these cleaned up and we'll shove them back in there. So now we've got clean flame sensor, clean spark igniter. This one was actually the one off of this top burner. It just looked better, so I'm going to reuse it. And you can't really screw this up. There's only one way they go in there. And same way with the flame sensor. Your screw holes are offset. Excuse me, offset. So it'll only go in one way. apparently it'll go in two ways. The wrong way and the right way. But my screw holes didn't line up, so that's the right way. There we go. So we got our new gaskets, snug those bolts up. We're gonna go back around and just tighten these down. A little bit at a time on each corner. All this stuff came loose pretty easy. So I'm not over cranking on anything. The gaskets should seal everything. That's as tight as I'm going. Get our gas valve back in place. Let's put this back in place first. Next to it. Now let's get the gas valve back on. Make sure the gasket's still okay. And we're going to press it down into place. Maybe. There it goes. Bring it back in place. Make sure that other gasket's lined up. Gaskets too, so don't over tighten. We'll check for gas leaks when we get done here. And we'll go ahead and plug everything back in. Start the gas valve. Can't see that one. Alright, so that, and where's my stubbed it on there to get it out. That goes there. So that'll be good to start this guy back up. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this drain pan. This drain pan down here slides out, and it's just got a bunch of that material in it. pH rocks or something or another. So I'm just gonna clean all the old stuff out of there, put the new stuff in, and then we'll fire this guy back up. Everything else looks in pretty good shape. Got to be good until, like I said, next year I'm gonna make sure I've got, I only had one flame sensor this time, and they look okay. The spark igniters are starting to wear, so I'm gonna make sure I get 2 new spark igniters, 2 new flame sensors, and we'll just rebuild everything, the new insulation and everything next year. So the last thing we're gonna do is these sensors. We got 2 for the bottom, 2 for the top. And they're really simple. Just twist and pull out. Clean that one. You can see they got gaskets in them. So they just go back in and twist into place. Same way with the top, twist, pull out. We're gonna get these cleaned up. This one doesn't look too bad. This is actually one that got replaced, so we'll clean those up, and that'll be the last thing we're gonna do until we get that changed and then start this thing back up. So we got our acid neutralizer. This is what our drain pan looks like. We got 2 outlets, a normal outlet and then an overflow. We're just gonna add this into here, mix it in real good, and then we'll slide this back in and start her up. We labeled our breaker. We'll go ahead and kick that back on. This guy should fire. It's on a reset, so you know, temperature goes up outside, the temperature on the boiler goes down. So it should still fire because my water temp's dropped. I'm running about 80, less than 90. So it's showing 95. I'm looking at that gauge over there, so it's not quite as accurate, but if I need to, I can test it out. But I'm just gonna let it sit for a minute and see if it doesn't fire on its own. It may not, because 95 is probably the minimum. There's your boiler pump there. We did go ahead and switch over. These do not switch over on their own, so we switched over to this pump here. Every year we just swap back and forth, and then we got all the parts that were reasonable and decent shape left here just in case, and we're gonna tag it and all that good stuff. So I don't see a good way to test this, so I'm seeing if I can trick it. This is the header sensor. Pulled that wire off. Now I'm showing 14 degrees. So it's either gonna fault out or something, or this thing should try to fire. Just gonna give it a minute and see what happens. So my outdoor sensor had me locked out, so I got it pulled. That should kick right on. Fired right up. Fired right up. I like it. So we're not going to let it get too warm, but we're going to let it run for a minute. Did kick this pump on, and everything looks normal. We may go ahead and test our low water cutoff while we're here. Low water cutoff. Killed my burners. So we know our low water cutoff works. 25 is going to be early water cutoff. I'm sure there's some way to test this thing in that control, but I don't want to change any of the settings. I went through and changed all the settings way back when we started this thing up and got it working on its reset and everything else. So I didn't want to get in there and mess with them, and I didn't see any test sequence in the manual, so let's let it cycle back on. Make sure it fires off one more time, and then we'll just put everything back like it was. This guy's gonna be all right now. I did probably do this backwards too, so looking at it, the bottom burner is my master burner number 1. So that's why this one had all the wear and more crap inside of it. So I probably should have replaced both on this, but the back insulator on the other one wasn't in bad shape, so it's got a new one of those. And like I said, we're working on getting the parts that we didn't have for this one. They should have sent us all of them, but alright, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna put this back together, tag it, make sure everybody knows what got done. We'll tag make sure we switched over the pumps. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Leave the trade better than you found it, guys. We'll see y'all next time.